Hello everyone and welcome along to AOR. My name is Ethan Graham. Today I'm going to be commentating by myself because unfortunately my colleague Evil Dragon XXL is having a few connection issues, so it's just for me for today. So I am doing the cameras and commentating by myself, so this is going to be interesting. But I welcome you along to what is round 6 of the AOR Season 14 GT3 Tier 1 on the PS4. We're at Sakitto GP. This circuit is Slightly Mad Studios, the developers of Project Cars. This is their take on the famous Suzuka circuit in the land of the rising sun, that is Japan. As we see Kevin Meyer making his way out on track. So we have a 5-minute practice session for our drivers here today, as this is a 90-minute reverse grid race. This is the first one of the season, the last one taking place on the finale round at Spa-Francorchamps later on in the season. But for now we're here at Sakitto in the wet weather. Japan always delivers with its wet weather, and today we are just seeing what that weather is like. Very, very rainy conditions here from what I've heard. Very also slippy in some places. A lot of puddles do form, but our drivers here today are going to be negotiating this very difficult circuit in the wet and dry today. It's probably a good idea to take you through our grid order today, as it is a reverse grid start for our drivers who are further down the order in terms of championship positioning will be starting higher up the grid. So in first place we have Leonardo, finished 8th position last race. He will be starting in first position, and then behind him is Camo, who I believe is not here today. Camo does not appear to be here today. Oh, he is here today. Never mind. Here is Camo going through what is turn 2. Onto the S's he goes. And then Archel. We have Archel in third place. Archel not had a very good season so far. Did not turn up last race. Believe he had some sort of issue and then disconnected from round 4 at Sonoma. And then we have Lewis Edwards, Scold 1808. Find him. There is Scold 1808. Had a few bad races so far. He is the maestro of the wet, as I do say oftenly. Looking for a good... Oh dear, that's not exactly what you want to see there. Hopefully he get a good race. He says he wants the podium here. He's going to take advantage of the fact that he starts 4th position. So let's see what he can do. Then we have the Thomas behind him. And then VSR Wolfman. Had a bit of a torrid season so far. His best result last time out at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Then behind him is Kevin Meyer. Had a relatively good season so far for his Tier 1 debut. It's been going really well, and he's hoping to get a good result here. Then behind him it is Coco SBR in the Ferrari 448 GT3. Camera taking a while to pan over. Look at that wheel in the background there. The wheel that is not actually in Suzuka. I don't believe Suzuka homes a Ferris wheel like that. We see Coco there. Starts in 8th position in the Ferrari. Then behind him it is Vectro 666. Gotta say he's been doing incredibly well this season. Vectro I highly rate this season at the moment. He's been doing very well. Been struggling with the Audi here though today. Let's see what he can do. And then behind him it is Papano in the other Audi. Had a good race last week out at Nürburgring, but been struggling with the wet weather puddles here. They've been claiming a few of the top drivers. Then we have Jam, who had an absolutely smashing qualifying and a smashing race last week. Finished 4th, I believe. And behind him, it is last week winner, Boy Raxa. Absolutely smashed it out of the ballpark last week at Nürburgring, setting nearly the fastest lap of the race. And a clean win and qualifying streak for him. Then behind him, it is Tinus. A little bit disappointing last race. He felt he could have done a bit more. Had a very, very close call with Gaza on the last run on the final lap, but I'm sure this time around he's going to be taking no prisoners again. Then it is Gaza. Currently sits only 2 or 3 points behind current leader Jazzman. Finished 2nd place last time out, Gaza did he at Nürburgring. Looking for a win this time around. Then we have the championship leader himself, Jazzman. Only finished just outside the top 5 last time at the Nürburgring did not have a very good race last week. He set himself a few spins here and there, but this track, this is where he made his AOR debut in Tier 1 and won that race. Granted, it was in the dry. Then a new face has returned, Big Kid Daddy. From season 13, he returns in the Lamborghini with the beautiful Vodafone livery. He starts last as he has no points currently so far. So that is the practice done. All the drivers will still be finishing some of their laps, but we have 80 seconds until the start of the race. Thank you everyone for joining at the moment. Unfortunately, it's just me. I'm not used to commentating by myself, but I'm going to give it a good damn try, and I didn't want to miss out on this race because it's going to be an absolute banger, I'm sure of it. If you got any questions, leave them down in the comments below or in the chat, and I'll try and answer them when I can. So, Suzuka or Sakitto. Sakitto does not share some of the same elements as the famous Suzuka circuit. As you can see, there is no hairpin. It is Degner's 1 and 2, and then you take a left uphill towards Spoon. There is no right hand turn to the chicane, or the hairpin, which I do prefer. I do prefer the hairpin over this uphill left-hander. But either way, Sakitto just as fast and as flowing and as technical as the Suzuka circuit. It holds that famous figure 8 layout. Absolutely beautiful layout of this track. Sakitto still has the famous 130i. Drivers got to watch out for that curb on the outside. They catch that runoff curb, they're going to get sent flying into a barrier. Then the final turn, flat out, 150 miles an hour through there sometimes. In the wet, just a little bit slower. But that's practice done. Now into the race. Let's see what goes on. So, times, these are drivers that have set times. 1:49.4 is not bad for Gaza. That's not a bad wet lap, but he starts at the back of the grid for this race. For all we know, that time could not mean anything. But here we are, guys. We're on the grid for what is the potentially the formation lap for this race. Currently, drivers sit in the incorrect grid order, so it's down to them to organise themselves cleanly and methodically without causing any issues or taking too much time, because they will probably get penalised for making contact with each other during the formation lap. 52 laps. Just about 90 minutes of racing. It's a long race this. The guys are going to be running full fuel on board their car. Now look at that, 118. That's what Vectro got. He's got 120. Lewis will be running the same, 120 full tanks on the Audi. Arshall and Tinnis running the same amount. The Ferrari running 120 as well. What's Dylan running? He's running 120 as well. So all these drivers running full fuel on their cars should be able to save a bit if they're running a longer gear ratio to help compensate for the traction that is probably going to be lost in the wet weather. And I can confirm Chris Jones Evil is unfortunately having a few technical problems. Can't seem to stay connected in the party, so it's me leading the charge today by myself for the first time in AOR. Hopefully I don't make a grand mess up of it, but I'll try my best. It's going to be interesting to see what some of these drivers can do, especially Lewis, because Lewis, very much the maestro of the wet, I would say. He's consistently performed well in the wet. Last season he claimed all his podiums in the wet. That was with the Honda NSX or the Acura NSX. This time he's in the Audi. Hasn't really claimed much with the Audi. Felt he could be consistent and pretty up front with the competitiveness of the car. He felt he could be really competitive. It's just not followed through. He's had a few silly mistakes last time out. He had a silly mistake, hit the barrier. But he's aiming for a podium today since he's starting far up front. But here we go, guys. Formation lap's about to get underway. That 5-second waiting period is ready. Yeah, here we go. Drivers making their way into formation. They're going to be making themselves clear of other drivers as they don't want to hit each other. Getting ready to make sure they are in the correct position. They go track side. Look at the rain here. Look at the track. Just look how soggy it is. Some drivers have changed liveries. Leonardo has changed liveries to the Dime Racing 111 livery. Looks very nice. It was to avoid confusion with Tinnis, who currently ran the sister livery to what Leonardo ran last week. See them go through turn 1. I think we're already in grid order. Yeah, Guys at the back already in grid order. Yes, we're in grid order already before we've even got to the S's. That's just how quick and efficient our drivers are here at AOR. No messing around. They get themselves ready. Now the long formation lap. Don't want to be making any mistakes here or getting on the power too early, because that could send your car flying off track. Don't want to pick up damage or hit anybody either. So, wet weather driving. What have you got to do to stay on track? Well, with wet weather driving, you got to make sure your tyres stay as grippy as possible. You don't want to wear out the tyres too quickly, because the tyres, they'll lose tread. It means the tyre gets more slick, which means you lose more grip. They'll be running higher tyre pressures as well. Low tyre pressures is not good for the tyre temperatures. You want to keep the tyres quite cool, so they'll be running offline sometimes, trying to keep some of that coolness in the tyres. Lewis said he's struggled with the tyre wear here, and especially with the tyre temperatures and the transitions between the wet and the dry. Apparently the rear tyres do get quite warm on the Audi. That is a side effect of the MR drivetrain cars. With all that weight on the rear axle, those tyres do get warm. You see some drivers may take wider lines. Sometimes the outer line or the outside line does have a bit more grip. You'll also be taking quite weird lines depending on the track layout of the corner. Some corners are banked here at Sakitto, especially the Degners. Those are banked, so all the water will be running down to the inside of the corner due to the live track 3.0. Even up this hill, the water will be trickling back down because of this gravity, the way the water flows. We're already at 130R. This should be coming into the... Yeah, here they go into double file just before 130R. It's a good panning view, that. Look at that view. That's absolutely amazing, that panning view. And yes, you are right, Chris Jones. The puddles here, some of the puddles do struggle to displace after the race is finished, especially under the tunnel. Some of the sunlight does not get to that puddle, so that means drivers will be using it by them, trying to get that puddle out of the way, just trying to run through it, get rid of it. But here we go, guys. Rounding the final corner of Sakitto for what is a 52 lap race, 90-minute endurance in reverse grid. Leonardo is on pole position with camera behind Archil. Probably one of the most fastest guys here. We're getting ready, lights out and away we go. Leonardo guns it down into turn one, gets a good start. Look at the gap he's got. Cavo just following right behind. Archil's looking on the inside. What's he going to do? Archil looking for the inside. He's there, but he's not going through. Walk through, clean through turn one. Camo ran a bit wide. Yep, we're clean through turn one. Dylan and Lewis going side by side. Dylan on the curb there. Just going to concede the position for now. Don't want to make any mistakes now, boys. This is not the crucial point. It's not getting damaged, because otherwise you'll be making 3 pit stops. Vectro going around the outside of Coco Espiavo through the S's. Good move there. Holds the inside for the next turn. Coming into his Dunlop. There's Papano in the background. Oh, a bit of contact there with Coco. But Papano's going around the outside. Is he? No, he's not. He's been forced out wide. Hits Boy Raxa. Boy Raxa now goes through into the first Degner. Go on board with Papano if we can. We're just going to follow him through instead as we go through Degners 1 and 2. Gaza has not made any positions. In fact, he's just having a few changes with Jazzman. But we go on board with Boy Raxa on the bumper camera. See Papano just on the inside there. He holds the inside line. He's got the outside through this little section here. Coming up to Spoon next. Look at the spray. Look at the spray that's being sprayed onto these guys. Probably have no idea where they're going. Papano goes deep. He gives the inside to Boy Raxa, who takes the inside on the second point of the Spoon. Take it out wide. Use all the track on the outside, but don't use the AstroTurf. You'll get some spinning through there. As we go on, we'll go to Leonardo now as he comes to 130R. It's not flat out. I hope none of these boys go wide here. Dylan's made a good start up into 5th as they come through the final corner. It's not flat out here. No way is it flat out. Look at him just flying by. Leonardo holds the lead quite well. De Thomas causing his own little train. Vectro's jumped up a few positions as well. Good start from him. Lewis still retaining his position. Dylan closely following behind. We've had an issue. Jam has gone off track. It looks like he's spun out on the final corner, and he has picked up damage right next to the pit boxes, but he's going to carry on. Big Kid Daddy's fallen a few positions as well. Jazzman's lost it. Jazzman gets on the curb, cuts right across the track, getting a tank supper through the grass. That's not what he needs. He's a championship leader with about a 2-point gap. He can't be having these mistakes, not early on. They need to get past a certain lap before they make their pit stops. Otherwise, they're going to be making 3 pit stops. They've got to make 2, at least, potentially. We're not too sure. At least 2 pit stops, I believe. It might be 1. But Jazzman, another mistake at the start of the race. That's 2 in a row now. He needs to get his head down and get past Big Kid Daddy. Through the Degners we go once again. But Coco and Boy Rax are having a good battle at the moment. You can see the puddle on the inside of Degner 1. That's Kevin Meyer, who's gone off track and he's pirouetted around. He's facing the wrong way in the gravel. That is not a good place to be. He's stopped on track. He's waiting for cars to go by. That's very, very good of him. That's sportsmanship at its finest. Archer's sitting by himself at the moment. Got a bit of a gap between him and Scold. And Camo in front, just in his own little world. Boy Rax down the inside of Coco and Spoon. There's a good overtaking place that goes out wide. Uses all the track, guns the V8 down this straight. Coco's following closely behind though. That Ferrari is no slouch in a straight line. Both same V8 engine, not exactly the same capacity, but the exact same cylinder layout. Yeah, no way you're going to overtake there, Coco. That would be an absolute... That would be sent to the shadow realm, that, as Super GT once says. Papano closely following behind as well. But so far, it's all clean at bar 2. Well, 3 even, as Archer picks up a penalty. That could be from 130R, that. Might be going slightly too wide. Lewis goes a little wide. This is going to allow Dylan to latch onto the back of him, potentially. Vectro's picked up a penalty. Tinnis has picked up a penalty. They're all picking up penalties. The Thomas is in the pits. I'm assuming he's got damage. Doesn't look like he's got damage. He's just coming. He hasn't got enough fuel, I don't think. He's taken on less fuel than I think he wanted to. It's not a good start. Vectro is coming onto the back of Dylan. Looks like Lewis is potentially playing the buffer here, holding up Dylan, backing him up into Vectro. It's a good tactic, but Vectro doesn't seem quite as confident as Dylan going for the Degners. Let's look at the size of that puddle on the inside. You can get right up against the curb on that puddle. Can't right up on the curb in the dry, but it's not happening in the wet. No way is it happening in the wet. Lewis currently 8 tenths ahead of VSR Wolfman, looking for an opportunity here to get by. At the moment he's just going to sit behind. Lewis gets on the curb. It's not too wrong with that. As Dylan goes slightly wide, don't want to be running out there. There's going to be so much standard water on the outside, could send the car into a spin. Archer with a 1 second penalty. What have they got? 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. That seems fair. That seems fair from the game. Leonardo only 2 tenths ahead of Camo. Camo's on a flyer right now. He did lap slower last lap, but he is latching on as we go through the final turn full speed. In the wet at least. They'll be going nearly 20 miles an hour faster in the dry. Lap times, what these boys set in. 152.0 and 151.6. Camo's on a fly. Archer not on the pace I expected. We have a retirement. De Thomas has retired, unfortunately. That's another DNF for De Thomas. Not having a brilliant season. Not even 5 laps in and he's already gone. As we have Jam in the pits from last lap, had an incident. Don't know how much damage he's... it doesn't look like much. Looks like just some slight minor aero damage to the bodywork. Papana going through the S's. Lovely section of track. Going to put the track map on so we can keep track of where cars are in case anybody spins, gives us a better idea of where cars are. Got a whole gaggle of cars up front. Look at it on the map, just a gaggle of cars that are going through the Degners so far. It's pretty close. That is not Kevin Meyer we're looking at, it's Scold we're looking at, who is holding Dylan up. I think Lewis has had a slight issue there coming out of Degner 2. Dylan's all over the back of him. That V8 Mercedes is fast. It's fast in the drying, it's fast in the wet. Go on the bonnet cam. Dylan probably has no idea where he's going right now. All that spray coming from the back of that R8. Won't be as much spray as F1 cars produce, but it's enough spray to certainly give you some issues. Go in the cockpit of the Mercedes, hear the V8 roar down this back straight, going over the bridge, but just before the Degners. 150 miles an hour, this Mercedes really does pull in a straight line. It pulls even more in the slipstream, but he can't hold it as Archer's gone off. Archer's hit the curb on the outside of 130 and is sent sliding down the track. And he's got nowhere to go. He's got to wait. right in the middle of the track out the exit of 130R. That must be so scary for those drivers coming through that about 130 miles an hour. Seeing a car just parked on the exit. That's the consequences of hitting that curb there. Once you touch it, it's either hitting the wall or just sliding across the track like that. And unfortunately, Archer's hit the curb, but rather fortunately for him, he hasn't hit the wall. So he can soldier on. Boyraxa, he's made a good start, starting far down the field, I think just outside the top 10. He's now running 6th and he's clutching Vectro at a phenomenal rate. Vectro's last lap of 51.9, Boyraxa's a 50.6. Quite clear the pace difference between these two drivers. That's Camo sitting in the middle of the road. He's got had enough at Dunlop. Can't tell if there's a puddle there or not, can't really tell. But he may have just caught the curb or the grass and he's spun off right on the exit of Dunlop. These drivers starting to get caught out. That promotes Lewis up into the podium positions now. And it promotes Dylan up to the podium positions. Team Pad arrived, Team Red Pad, well I was going to call it Team Arrival on Pad. Currently running in the top 5. This is a good showing for them. They could really do with this. They have not had a really good race whatsoever. Is that Vectro going wide? Archer's disconnected. That's not good. Archer's had another DNF in a row. It's not going well for him either. Driver's already retiring. Vectro's lost the position to Boyraxa after going wide at the spoon section. That promotes Boyraxa now up into 4th position. That's hit the nail into the coffin for Vectro. He's doing well for someone who claimed he was struggling at this circuit. He's not doing bad at all. He's keeping his head down. Look at the dirt that's being dragged onto Spoon. Not even Spoon, 130R, my apologies. That could cause some issues there. Dylan taking a nice wide line through the final section. Has just received a message from Thomas. He had an issue with the AI. Unfortunately, the game has an issue where the AI can randomly take over a driver's car after making a pit stop. So unfortunately, he's out of the race due to a technical issue. Happens there and then. Dylan and Lewis and Leonardo are lapping within 3 tenths of each other. Leonardo and Dylan lapping almost near identical. Lewis just lapping 3 tenths faster, but it's Boyraxa behind who is lapping even faster. And if these guys keep battling with these lap times, eventually they're all going to close up and it's going to be a good battle. Leonardo making his Tier 1 debut last time out at Nürburgring Nürburgring 24-hour layout. Finishing P8, unfortunately, I think there's a bit of a camera glitch there, unfortunately. But yeah, Leonardo made his debut last time out at Nürburgring after finishing 1st place at Sonoma in Tier 2. Leonardo has really impressed me and Evil. Unfortunately, is not here, but he has impressed us with his pace. And at the moment, he's doing a grand job of just keeping the car on track, opening that gap up. Really has got some pace, and that is really good to see. It's good to see the Tier 2 drivers improving and making themselves really established in Tier 1. You see he's even up on his time at the moment. Boyraxa has latched right onto the back of Dylan. Look at them go. V8 versus V8, Mercedes versus Mercedes. Here we go for 130 on the bumper camera. Touches the curb on the inside, that's good. Don't want to touch the outside curb though where Archel clipped. That's what sent him into a spin through the final corner. You can see just the car scrambling around. Looks like Boyraxa's got a nice setup on board. Gets the car turned in. You don't want understeer in the wet really, because that just holds the car up so much, kills so much time out of the car. But look at the lap times. Dylan and Lewis, they're lapping each other so hard. They're letting Leonardo get away. And in fact, Lewis has gone wide. Look at Dylan. He's right onto the back of him now. Lewis is struggling under pressure. It looks like he's struggling with his tyres. It looks like he's struggling to keep Dylan behind him. He might be wearing his tyres in a bit more than he wants to be to keep Dylan behind. And this is allowing Leonardo to pull a big gap on him. Leonardo just doing everything he needs to do in this race. We're currently 8 laps in out of 52. Skull currently sitting in 2nd place, the highest he's been all season long. Can he keep it there though? Can he stay consistent enough to claim a podium in the wet like he did last season and all other races that were in the wet? And we have Dylan also the highest. He's been in the top 3 a few times this season, but it's never followed through. It's never come to fruition for him to finish in the podiums. It's going well so far. Boyraxa last time out as the winner at Nürburgring. Looking feisty as ever, looking like the man to beat at the moment. As further down, we have Jazzman, not really having a grand time at the moment, not coming through the field as fast as I think he would. Same with Gazza and Tinnis, and yeah, they're all dropping behind. Coco looks like he's had an off potentially somewhere because he was further up the field than 11th. And Big Kid Daddy, his first race back since season 13, just doing what he needs to do. But further up the field, Dylan is right on the back of Lewis going into turn 1. He's going for the move. He's going down the inside. Is he going to be able to hold it though, is the question. Is he going to be able to hold the position going into turn 1? He's got the inside line. Lewis has got the outside line, but Lewis can't hold it. Dylan has got the position. He has taken second place off of Lewis. Now it's Boy Rax's turn. What can he do? Can he get past Lewis? It looks like it. Lewis is cracking under the pressure. That's one person through. Now it's the other person. Now the other person, Boy Raxa, is even more formidable than Dylan. I would say at the moment, Boy Raxa is definitely more on the charge than Dylan. Lewis has just got no pace whatsoever. The maestro of the wet is not having a grand time. Lewis has just not got any speed whatsoever through these S's as the Mercedes has. It might be the tyres might be wearing off a bit now as we go through the Degners. Unfortunately that camera is going to have potentially a slight glitch. Yes it is. It still thinks Kevin Meyer is stuck somewhere. Lewis is in a bad position here. He needs a good run through the spoon if he wants to keep this position. If he makes a slight error in the spoon, Boy Raxa is going to have a field day going past him. It's going to basically open up the corner for Boy Raxa to slip one up the inside. Dylan's gone wide. Dylan runs off the track. He's out of the position though. And Lewis has had a good drive through the spoon. Keeps ahead of Boy Raxa for now. This might actually allow Vectro to catch up as well. Vectro not too far off these guys. These guys are all lapping pretty fast. But they're all holding each other up as well. Lewis just slightly missing the apex of the final of spoon. Now he's gone wide. He's gone off track nearly. Lewis cracks under pressure again and loses the position. He's just not consistent in his corners. And he's taken out cones. He's going over curbs he shouldn't be going over. He's flipped over the curbs there. He had a monumental accident in practice on board. I was watching with him, giving him some tips on the track, and he clipped that inside curb where he just did and had a monumental accident. He flipped his car 3 times and blown his engine as a result of that. He needs to be careful. He needs to be careful. We're only 10 laps in, Lewis. You don't want to trash the car now. You're still in 4th position. It's not a bad place to be in so far. Boy Raxa though is through after Lewis makes a slight error and Dylan running slightly wide out of Dunlop. Just look at the way Boy Raxa got a better charge out of Dunlop than Dylan. And Leonardo all by himself. It looks like Dylan's catching up. Look at the size of the puddle there. Unfortunately the picture's blurred up, but the corner there absolutely full of puddles. Let's just go on the roof cam with Gaza through Degner 2. Look at the size of the puddle on the inside. You don't want to clip that. You're aquaplaying so badly over that. Boy Raxa catching up to the back of Dylan. Boy Raxa just an unformidable driver. Absolutely astonishing pace last time at the Nürburgring. Caught me by surprise. Had an absolutely astonishing qualifying lap. And absolutely smashed it in the race. Never seen a drive like it, but Dylan is the faster of the 2 in the top 3. Dylan doing absolutely perfect right now, an absolutely perfect drive at the moment. Not put a foot wrong so far as we go through the final corner on board with Dylan. Perfect line through there, taking it nice and smoothly, no sudden jerks in the steering, making sure it's nice and smooth. Laps even faster that lap. Well, not faster than his best lap. Tyres will be a little bit worn now. Lewis has picked up a penalty, but he's on it. He's going for it now. He looks like he wants that position back. He wants 3rd position. He wants a podium, and he wants it badly, so he's going to give everything by the looks of it. He lapped faster than his teammate, Vectro, 666 in 5th position. Not quite as fast as Boy Raxen only too far. Oh, there's a big puddle there. Got on board with Papano. Look at the puddle all across the track. That is very, very scary. That's going to catch some drivers out, I reckon. But yeah, only just 2 milliseconds almost. Dylan's run wide at deck the 2. Want to be careful, Dylan. You don't want to get dragged out into the gravel because you saw what happened to Kevin Meyer when he went wide there. He went pirouetting around in the gravel trap and now sits in 13th position at the moment. Leonardo, the gap has come down. Don't know if he's had a slight off, maybe. We haven't caught it. But Leonardo still holds first position crucially at the moment, but that gap is coming down. Boyraxer and Dylan are on a charge right now. Papano, only 6/10 off of Vectro so far. That gap's coming down as well. So we've got track battles brewing at the moment, but it's just drivers getting closer and closer over time. Boyraxer and Dylan line of stern through the 130R. Lewis taking a bit more out of the corner. May get a warning flag. Look like 4 wheels off through there. He's hitting the curbs, Lewis. You don't want to catch those. That's going to send you wide into the gravel trap on the outside. He's trying to lap fast. Someone's coming to the pits. It's Jam again. Has he got damage? I can't tell from this camera angle. But yeah, Lewis is taking a lot out of the track, trying to gain as much time as he can. It's just not coming to fruition. I think Lewis has got an even bigger penalty. Looks like he got a penalty that lap because his lap time's really slow. What we got? 2 seconds for Lewis and Vectro, 1 second for Tinnis, and nobody else has got any penalties as of now. Leonardo, the gap comes down even more. Dylan's within a shout of taking the lead here. This is exactly like what happened at Imola last season, round 1 of season 13. Dylan was on an absolute stormer at that race. Looks like it's coming to fruition again here. Can Dylan take the lead here for Visceral Racing as the sole driver? Lewis goes through the puddle at turn and the deck the 2. Don't know what Lewis is up to on track here. He's making a lot of strange lines here. Runs wide out of technically what would be the hairpin on Suzuka, but it's not a hairpin here at Sakitto. Personally prefer the hairpin, but I guess everybody has their preference. But Lewis making a lot of mistakes. Dylan is right on the back of Leonardo here, coming down to Spoon. I keep mixing up Spoon on 130R, but look at the power of the V8. He's closing. Dylan, you're not going to be able to make it. He lifts off. Wise choice. Leonardo goes wide. He's stuck on the curb. Dylan inherits the lead here at Sakitto. Perfect move. Leonardo, just slight mistake there. Got on the curb, had to sit on top of it. Otherwise, if he'd come back on track, he would have spun out. Dylan leads for Visceral Racing here at Sakitto. Boyraxer sits in 3rd, potentially looking for 2nd place. Leonardo's run wide again. That gives Boyraxer an absolute easy invitation into 2nd place. It's a Mercedes 1-2. Snakes Unites in 2nd. Visceral Racing in 1st. Leonardo drops to 3rd with Lewis not too far behind. Further down the order, we have Pano, who has got by Vectro. We've missed that overtake while others have been happening. Gaz has caught up very quickly as well, and Jazzman and Tinnis. Those guys are closing in very quickly. Boyraxer and Dylan separated by a 2nd so far. Really impressive driving from these 2 here. Absolutely smashing it so far. Here in the torrential wet weather that is Japan's finest. Japan always has the best weather, if I'm honest. Either nice summer dry days or torrential conditions like this. Personally prefer the torrential conditions because it always looks picturesque and beautiful. But so far these 2 brilliant drivers just separated by literally a couple of car lengths. Lewis on the back of Leonardo looking for a way by. Doesn't look like it's going to happen here. We'll go on board with Lewis, see what happens. We'll go on cockpit cam, see what it's like through 1VR. Look at the spray. Don't think there's going to be any way by here. Look at the steering input Lewis has to put in on a controller. So much more steering input. A lot more difficult, I can imagine, for the driver. that user to control it in the wet. So much more effort has to be put in than with a wheel user who can be precise and accurate, especially with his footwork as well, or he or she's footwork. Obviously, you've got a lot more advantages being on a wheel than a pad. Gotta say, the trackside cameras, a great positioning here at Sakitto, not like at Nürburgring where there's a few misplaced ones. Dylan opening up the gap on Boyraxa, is slowly opening up. Dylan's got some good pace here. He's lapping just a bit faster than Boyraxa, which is very impressive to see. Vectro being caught up to by Gaza. Gaza's on a roll right now. He's looking for some good points here. He needs good points. He can take the championship lead here today if he stays ahead of Jazzman. Is it going to come to fruition though? Well, lap 14 of 52. Not even halfway through yet. Jazzman sitting behind Gaza. He needs a good race, Jazzman. I really feel he could do with a good race, as we see Kevin Meyer just apparently doing something according to Project Cars. But yeah, Jazzman did not have a good race last week. Could really do with a good one. This track here, this is where he made his first win in AOR. Well, at least in AOR Tier 1 GT3. It was at Sakitto in the dry. I'm sure he wants to replicate that win, but it's just not happening at the moment. Not at the moment, at least. Vectro a little bit wide through Spoon. He's got Gaza all over the back of him. Gaza's going to be looking for a way through here. Has that V8 got enough grunt to get him past before 130 up? It doesn't look like it's going to happen. He's not close enough. Maybe if he keeps close enough here. No, Vectro one's wide. Vectro one's wide. That's just giving Gaza a perfect opportunity. You're not going to overtake there, Gaza. You've got a nice long straight here, and you've got a V8 AMG engine in your car. Sure, you could just breeze by, but Vectro's got a good enough gap. But here comes the Mercedes. It's closing. It's closing. It's not close enough for turn one though. Gaza gives it a good look anyways. Gives Vectro's mirrors full of beautiful Mercedes design. That is the Mercedes AMG GT3. Obviously being replaced next year in 2020 by the AMG GT3 Evo, which looks even meaner. If you have not seen the AMG GT3 Evo, I suggest you go look it up because it looks absolutely astonishing. Papano just sitting ahead of the battle behind that between Vectro and Gaza. Lewis sitting behind Leonardo, taking a lot of the curb out there at Degner 1. Once again, that Cameron Lewis has hit the puddle at Degner 2. Oh, and he's right on the racing line on the exit. Once again, Lewis gets caught out, makes another mistake. But we got to cut to the top two as Boyrax is right onto the back of Dylan. I think Dylan's tyres may be wearing off potentially, or he's just saving them a bit. It could be one or the other. It's a 4/10 gap, but it's Mercedes versus Mercedes. Nah, I don't think Boyrax has a chance here. He could just sit in the slipstream, save a bit of fuel. But he's not going to get by Dylan. He's not close enough. But once again, Lewis makes another mistake. That's 3 races in a row now where he's made a mistake. Not going to plan for him. See, Dylan takes a much wider line through the final corner. Going to be a battle to keep an eye on. These two, the pace is fluctuating between them both. Yeah, see, Dylan laps faster this lap, but the lap before this lap, he was literally nearly a second slower. So I was correct. The pace does fluctuate between the two of them. Leonardo nearly a full second slower. Papano nearly a full second faster than Boyraxa. Papano's on a flyer at the moment. He's on the pace, but currently sits a fair ways back at the moment. Vectro managed to pull away from Gaza a little bit. And Lewis is now in the clutches of Jazzman, the Tier 1 coordinator, the current championship leader, might I say. Lewis is in a bad position here. Lewis wanted to get a good result. He said he wanted a podium, and that's not happening today by the looks of it. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that he started 4th, and he has not used that to his advantage. If anything, he's gone against it as Jazzman looks for the inside of Degner 2 and takes it. Looked like easy pickings for him there. Lewis just opened up the door and just said, come on in. And Jazzman did exactly that, went up the inside, takes the position. Lewis now falls another position. Papano's catching up to Leonardo, who sits third at the moment, still doing a fine job. But it's Boyraxer and Dylan who are now line astern once again, coming up to 130R. On board on the bumper camera right on the front of the Mercedes AMG. Not close enough again. Dylan looks a bit more comfortable through 130R than Boyraxer. Maybe Boyraxer might be dealing with a slight bit of dirty air potentially. But yeah, Boyraxer closes up after Spoon, but just loses it on the straights a little. Maybe Boyraxer is running a bit more downforce. It would make sense to do so. But this battle certainly heating up. It's good to see two drivers battling it out like this. It's attrition, it's pressure, it's a mixture of different elements. Tyre wear, fuel usage, car positioning and throttle management and braking applications. It's about who can tame the car in horrible conditions. At the moment, they're both doing a sterling job of it. We're going to go on board with Boyraxer to avoid that glitch through this corner. As you can see, it much better. Doesn't go blurry or anything like that. But Boyraxer right on the back of Dylan. It seems Boyraxer's got the better pace through sectors 1 and 2. And Dylan the better pace in sector 3. I mean, look at the top times, 51.8, 51.8. They're near identical to each other. These guys are separated by just only a little bit. Papano's left the session. What's happened to Papano? We've missed that there while watching the battle for first position. No idea what's happened to Papano, unfortunately. Once again, another retiree from this race. A lot of retirements already. We're not even halfway through. A lot of these drivers just not sticking with it, which is unfortunate to see. Vectro's causing a train here. This is allowing the two championship, the two challenges for the title close right up. But Vectro has a right to place his car where he wants. Gaz is looking for the inside of 130R. It's not going to happen there. In fact, he's made it even more difficult for himself. But someone who made it even more difficult was Jazzman, who goes completely off the road this time. Might be due to dirty air. He has got two cars directly in front of him, so it makes sense if that was dirty air. 2 tenths between the top two. Once again, Boyrax is closed up. Dylan not letting him by though, not cracking whatsoever, putting his car in the correct spots, making that AMG as wide as possible, prohibiting Boyraxer just from getting anywhere near up the inside. Absolutely sterling battle. Absolutely mesmerising to watch. Two drivers so closely matched in difficult conditions in the same car. This is what Bray's GT racing does provide. It provides close racing on a level like this. As you can see, the difference between going trackside and onboard through Techno 2, it causes a bit of an issue. Boyrax is in a good position though for Spoon. So we go on the bonnet camera. Didn't think he's got anywhere to go this time. He goes a little bit on the inside just to keep Dylan looking, but nowhere to go. He really needs a good drive out here. Boyraxer needs a good drive out of this second part of Spoon, because this is where Dylan opens the gap up, and he's done so again. Dylan's opened that gap up. He's going to keep him ahead for another lap by the looks of it, unless Dylan has a slight error, which I hope he does not. To go further back down the field, Vectro opens up the gap on Jazzman. Once again, it's fluctuating between these guys. Tinnis has gotten ahead of Lewis. I think Lewis may have had another issue again. Back up front though, 4 tenths the gap. Was 5 tenths, but it increases once again. Even in the slipstream, Boyraxer is not catching up to Dylan, so it looks like Dylan's got the low aero setup on the car, trying to get as much power from the Mercedes, or as much straight line speed. The Mercedes does dominate, to be fair, at Sakitto, when Sakitto was AOR's time trial circuit. The top 30 times would just be AMG all over. So it makes sense to run a low downforce setup. Might not help in the slower stuff here, but helps in a straight line, and that's what's keeping Dylan ahead so far. see Dylan getting a bit of a tank stopper there through the puddle up Dunlop. See Vectro. Oh, that was Tinnis running slightly wide there by the looks of it. He's got Lewis for company behind him, but I don't think Lewis is going to be challenging at any point. 2 tenths the gap, 1 tenth the gap. It's very close between Boyraxa and Dylan, but once again, Dylan holds the position. Has Boyraxa got anywhere to go in Spoon? He's got a really good drive out of that corner. Can he make the move though? I don't think he's close enough. He's not close enough. He's nowhere near close enough to make a move. He sits behind for now. I think he's playing the waiting game. It's going to be a good... Wonder what these guys are thinking in terms of pitting. Are they going to be pitting earlier? Try and get on the slicks a bit earlier to mitigate for the time they're going to lose in the pit stops? Or are they going to take it safe and wait for it to dry out a bit? I wonder. But unfortunately we don't have any pitch strategy graphics like Formula 1 has, unfortunately. Dylan's gone wide through... Oh, Boyraxa. No, it wasn't Boyraxa, never mind. It was Dylan who went off track at 130R, getting on the curve. Made the wise choice to not coming back on track, just went off track to save the car. But he's got that aero advantage. The lower aero advantage keeps Dylan ahead once again. Would that have given him a penalty, I wonder? No, it hasn't. Lewis has picked up a 4-second penalty. Vectro on 3. Not exactly going to plan for those guys in terms of penalties. Dylan and Boyraxa battling it out as hard as they can whilst trying to keep it on track without putting the cars into the wall. Literally, the times are not much different. The fuel is not much different. These guys are pretty much identical. It's a shame we can't see their tyre graphics or anything like that, as we see Tinnis, the first to bite the bullet. Has he gone off? I can't tell. Can't see any damage on that Lamborghini. He's coming to the pit lane. I wonder if the track's drying out. I'm guessing the track might be drying out now. It's too difficult to tell at the moment. Boyrax is still free. He's not got such a good drive out the corner this time like he did last lap. Dylan's going to hold the lead for the moment. Leonardo doing absolutely brilliantly in 3rd position. Not put a foot wrong whatsoever. Just driving and driving, just driving. Absolutely perfect so far. A really good showing for him. The Tier 2 driver, now Tier 1, running in 3rd position in the Dime Racing Lamborghini. Looks like the weather's brightening up a bit. To see the leaders go through 130R. Looks like the track's brightening up. It looks like it's brightening up. The weather looks to be improving. You can see that dirt all over the middle of 130R. Thankfully it's off the racing line, but that one would cause a lot of grip issues. Jasmine's fallen back a bit. Scold's also taking way too much out of that turn. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a penalty for that. That's way too much out of the turn there, Lewis. You need to keep within the tracks there, buddy. Too much out of the corner. Tinnis in 12th after pitting. Don't know if he's on slicks or on wets. Can't tell. Just got no way of knowing. Gaza through turn 2. Sitting behind Vectro. Not much happening. We haven't got many battles. It's all line astern really. Seeing who can pressurise the other into a mistake. I'm guessing these drivers taking the safe option of not sending it up the inside drastically and more just being conservative and not making mistakes. Boyraxa not too far off the back of Dylan. Can't see any puddles. Oh, there's a puddle there after the tunnel. And there's a puddle there as well across the track. That's going to cause some issues, I reckon, for the drivers. But Dylan and Boyraxa are unfazed by the conditions. Seem untouchable up front. Look at the gap they've got formed. Leonardo 6 seconds. Vectro 11 seconds. Jazzman and Skull, they're falling off as well. These guys are absolutely smashing it out of the ballpark. Dylan's lapping once again faster than Boyraxa. Dylan's on a flyer. This is exactly what Dylan needs. He needs a good race behind him. Yes, last week was a good race, but he admitted he could have done better. This is what he wants. This is a real confidence booster for him at the moment. Don't want to put anything on his name. I don't want to put anything in the coffin just in case, because this could be a real heartbreaker if something does happen. But Dylan on the rails at the moment. Nothing is unfazing him. He is not cracking under pressure. Nothing is touching him right now, which is good to see. Those go through 130R, this time without going off the track. See from the track map, the drivers have spaced out a little bit, unfortunately. But that is wet weather drivers. Some drivers will be more accustomed to the wet weather than some others. Lewis has told us multiple times over the past he's been here in AOR how much he loves the wet, but this time doesn't look like he's enjoying it. Someone who does seem to be enjoying it is Vectro. During practice he was struggling a little bit with the puddles, didn't quite like the fact that the puddles were there, but at the moment he's persevering and he's sitting ahead of one of the challenging contenders for the title in 4th position. So far this is the best he's raced all season long, and if he continues to race like this will be his best finish since last season, where he got a podium position at Catalonia in the wet, albeit in the Audi, in the Acura even. The Audi proves to be quite strong in the wet. As Jazzman goes off track, he's off track. The championship leader's made a mistake and he's in the middle of the track, and he's turned into Lewis. He tried to get started and he's gone into Lewis. He's spun out again. Jazzman has collected another car whilst having an off. That is not good there. Jazzman has collected another car. Looked like he just caught the inside of Degner 2. Tried to get going again and then accelerated into Lewis whilst he was returning to the racing line. That's not good from the championship leader. If Jazzman wanted a good result now, he's got a lot more work to do. Don't know how much damage that would have inflicted on both Jazzman and Lewis. Who's that? That is Jam. That's a lapped vehicle. Jam currently being lapped. Not a good race for him so far. Very disappointing for him. The track is brightening up. It is getting brighter here. Lewis has gone off the track. Jam's gone off the track as well. They're taking a lot out of that turn. Bit too much for my liking. Gotta try and keep it within the white lines, guys. Guys are looking for a way by Vectro. It's not happening. Once again, this is what happened to Bruno last season in the final race. Vectro and Gaza had a brilliant race and a brilliant battle with each other, and it's not happening. Jazzman's in. Wonder if his tyres are gone, if he's got damaged. Yep, Jazzman has caught damage. So if Jazzman's got damage, Lewis is going to have damage. That was a silly mistake, that. Jazzman going off the circuit, that was a mistake by itself, but what could have easily been avoided was the fact that he tried to turn his car around while another car was coming through the corner and just made a really silly decision and just accelerating and getting on the power and just propelling his car into him. As we look at the top two, nothing's changed here. They're both lapping within a tenth. Line astern again. Jazzman in the pits outside the top 10. These top two, I'm astonished by the fact that just how well they are racing. Granted, they are being caught up to now. The gap has come down regarding their competitors outside the top 5. But these two, they're just battling brilliantly. Just nothing's phasing them whatsoever. Like, they're both on rails. They're just going for it. They just know what they need to do, and they're just making sure that what happens and what they want to do happens. Dylan actually gained quite a bit of time now in Boyraxa. Looks like Boyraxa, he might have run out of tyres. Looks like he may have run out of the grunt. He may have run out of juice. Jazzman's been lapped. The championship leader has been lapped. So there is a real nail in the coffin there. If Jazzman had any chances of trying to get a win, they are well and truly gone now. There is no way he's going to catch back up now. The championship leader has been lapped. Most crucially, the fact is, Boyraxa is also a championship contender, and he is now in front of the championship leader. Gaza sits in 5th, trying to make his way past Vectro. Jazzman is almost definitely going to lose the championship lead now after what it was really just a silly mistake on his behalf. I'm sure he's going to admit to that later on. Boyraxa and Dylan still line astern. Nothing's phasing him. What I'm worried about now is Jazzman's pace, because Jazzman, whilst he has the right to re-overtake the vehicles that have lapped him, if he's going to overtake him, he needs to get away from them quickly and not hold this battle up, because this could be the difference between the leaders here. This could make any of them have a spin. Jazzman actually drifting through the first part of Spoon. This could decide the win between these two drivers up front. That's the last thing we need. Big Kid Daddy moves up to 7th. Coco also in 8th. Don't believe they've pitted yet. I believe maybe Coco has pitted. Lewis in 6th. Relatively silent race for him. Cut in the corner there. Doing a lot of corner cuts, Lewis. Gaza behind Vectro. Just interested in the time penalties. Lewis has picked up a 38-second penalty. I'm assuming that's for too many corner cuts. Lewis has picked himself up a 38-second penalty. So he is going to drop right down the order. If that's for cutting corners too many times and getting the worn out, I share no sympathy for that. That might sound a bit harsh, but if you're going to cut the corners, then it's more than fair enough for the game to give you a penalty like that. As Vectro has been overtaken by Gaza, but he's holding it on the outside. Gaza's got the position. The Vectro is still there. Now he's got the position. Gaza is through. He's up to 4th. Now chasing down Leonardo. Vectro is not letting him go though. He wanted to hold on for a little bit longer. But in the end, Gaza has got it. Vectro on the puddle, getting loose. That's unfortunate there. That may have just spelled the end of that race now. Somebody else has retired. Who else has retired? Jazzman's retired. The championship leader has retired from this race. I can't believe that. The championship leader is gone. He is not finishing this race. That means 0 points for him. 0 points to go on the board. Vectro has caught the puddle just after the tunnel there, but my words, the championship leader 2 points ahead of other title contender Gaza has now retired. That's another retiree. We've got a lot of retirees here today. That's quite disappointing to see. But regardless, these 12 remaining drivers soldier on. Big Kid Daddy on his debut since season 13. Running no assists, surprisingly. This is very bold to see. Yeah, Big Kid Daddy. Very strange to see on no assists, but I'm guessing he must feel comfortable with no ABS. I'm sure you can do some things for adjusting the brake pressure to make sure the brakes don't lock up at any point. Tell you what, he's top 3. Dylan is just on a fly right now. I may be a VSR member and Dylan is a VSR member, and I'm not biased whatsoever, but I am going to say this. Dylan is lapping brilliantly right now. Boyraxa just does not seem to be up on the match. He just does not seem to be on the level that Dylan is. What's the fuel difference between them? Dylan's on more fuel, believe it or not. Maybe it's just 3 litres, but that 3 litres is still a difference between the two of them. Dylan and Boyraxa, yes. The battle seems to have dissipated. What was basically just a few temps has now turned into a 2-second gap. Unbelievable. Dylan just absolutely knocking it out of the park right now. Leonardo as well. All top 3. Just doing a brilliant job of racing here. Gaza finally made his way up into the top 5. Vectro and Lewis sitting in the top 6, but I don't think Lewis will be sitting in the top 6 for long with that penalty on board as he runs wide there. Lewis does not seem comfortable whatsoever in the rain, which is rather strange to see considering the fact all his podiums last season came in the wet weather. Just does not seem to be up to scratch with the wet weather here. He may have that damage that he did pick up from that collision with Jazzman earlier on, but it shouldn't have affected his car too much. The gap increases once again. Was 2 seconds. It's gone up even more. It was 2.3 just earlier on. Scold up on his time by the looks of it, or was that Vectro? Can't tell. Oh, Lewis! Don't touch those curbs. Every time you touch those curbs, it's going to be an airplane crash potentially. just really worried because Lewis has got a 38-second penalty. The last thing he needs now is a DNF. Yeah, even a 38-second penalty might put him down. A DNF is even worse because a DNF means no points. A 38-second penalty, you're still going to get some points. Dylan's done a 50.9, and that's late into it. The track's got to be drying up, I reckon. Dylan's on the pace, he's on the roll, he's going for it. Tinnis, a 50.2, a 49.9, the track's drying up. I reckon it's time to come in now. Track's drying up. Drivers are going to start coming in soon. Who's going to bite the bullet first? Who's going to take the risk and pit early in the wetter conditions? Who's going to go on the slicks early, try and make up some time? It'd be really good for Dylan maybe to come in the next few laps. There's still a bit of spray. I can see a dry line slowly starting to form. But Dylan's on the pace. He's going for it. If he wants to win, he's got to gun for it, and he certainly is. Vectro sits in 5th position. He's also up. All these drivers are up on their times. The track is certainly drying up now. Leonardo going through turns, well, through 130R. Dylan and Boyraxa stay out. 50.7 for for Dylan. Boyraxa does a 50.9. The track's certainly drying up. Leonardo's in. He bites the bullet first. Leonardo bites the bullet first. What does this mean for the top two? What's those two going to do about it? What about Lewis? Is he coming in? Cuts the track a little bit there. Goes wide as a result of that. Anybody else biting the bullet? Doesn't look like it. Lewis is staying out. Leonardo's the first to bite the bullet. Will be going on to slick tyres. Is it too early to pit? We'll find out. See where Leonardo will come out. It will probably be about 7th position, maybe 8th. Through Degner's 1. Dylan goes through Degner's 2. 6/10 up. The track is certainly drying now. Where's Leonardo? Still in the pit lane. He's still in the pits. Tinnis. Leonardo now moves from his pit box, but he's going to get overtaken by Tinnis regardless. 4 to 5 laps. That's what Foggy thinks in the chat. 4 to 5 laps. Is Foggy correct? We're going to find out. Leonardo comes out. Almost certainly got to be on the slicks. It'd be foolish to stay out on the wet tyres. Just comes out ahead of Coco. I've got to say, Leonardo looks like he has got the grip. Did not hesitate on the power out of turn 2 whatsoever. Flat out just about through there. Look at the dirt on the track. That's a lot of dirt that's been kicked up. I wonder, it might be dry enough. There's a dry line through the final turn. The dry line is starting to form. Maybe you might be right, Foggy. Maybe 4 laps. I don't think 5 laps. But certainly it's drying up now. 50.5 for Dylan. A 50.4 for Boyraxa. Gaz is on the pace as well. Vectro's on the pace. Tinnis has done a 50.1. But is he on the wets? Is the question. Because if Tinnis is on the wets, he's got to make another pit stop. Which could really, really hamper him. Because he's only sitting 7th. His teammate's out. So he's carrying the Italian Stallions in this race. Vectro stayed out. Lewis has also stayed out. What about Big Kid Daddy? Does Big Kid Daddy come in? Vectro's come in. Vectro next to bite the bullet. Big Kid Daddy stays out. Boyraxa and Dylan have all stayed out. Leonardo. What about Coco? No, Leonardo's obviously just pitted. He pitted last lap. I reckon some of these drivers are starting to come in now. Really concerned about Tinnis though. Tinnis, if he's on the wets, he's made a really, really, really bad mistake there of staying on the wets, because then he's going to have to go onto the dries, and that's 3 pit stops. Coco's in. They're all coming in now. That's another 2, 3 in the same lap. Where's Dylan? Dylan's 3 temps up. Is he coming in this lap? You can see the dry line starting to form. The spray reduces. I think it's time to come in now. Dylan looks to be going full pace. He stays out for another lap. Yep, Dylan stays out. In fact, He's lapped Coco and Vectro. That's how fast the pace is, a 49.8. Laps faster than Boy Raxa. I think it's too early to say that Boy Raxa and Gaz will be getting a 1-2. Not by the fact that Dylan is lapping so much faster than these guys. Gaza, well, just a tenth faster than Dylan. It's close, but Boy Raxa sits 2.5 seconds behind. Gaza a full 13 seconds. Have these guys got any penalties as well? Scored on a 40-second penalty. It's disappointing to see. Is Lewis coming in? No, he's not. Dylan on an absolute charge right now. A 49.8. Gaza as well, 49.7. Dennis 49.5, but I have a feeling he's on the wets. Oh, that's Camo. Camo has gone off track. Looks like that is due to a puddle. Unfortunate there, catching him out. Dylan Brown's the second part of the spoon section, still yet to pit. There's no spray down the straight. Now well, there is a bit of spray, but there's barely any. Now I reckon it's the time to come in. Leaving it any later might cause you to lose time. He's gained time on Gaza. Gaza's had a mare somewhere. Gaza's lost time. Does Dylan come in? Dylan's coming in. He's flashed his lights. Drivers are required to do this to let other drivers know they're coming in. Dylan pits. What's Boy Raxa do? He stays out. Boy Raxa stays out a lap later. As if we've just had technical malfunction. I can't actually see anything on the screen at the moment. Hopefully this will just be sorted out in a brief moment. What can Boy Raxa do? Is he going to stay out longer, or is he going to come in this lap? I'm sure he's going to come in soon. It would be quite foolish to stay out this long, especially after the leader, who is clearly lapping faster, to stay out. What can Boy Raxa do? Can he inherit the lead, or is he going to lose out? Only time will tell, as I've still got a technical issue. I do incredibly apologise for this. I simply cannot see what my screen is showing right now. It's just an unfortunate issue with my PS4. Hopefully to get this sorted soon. Eventually it will sort itself out. Nothing I can really do about it. It's just going to take time. Just try and sort it out. Yeah, it's still not sorted out, so we're just going to have to put up with Boy. I mean, we can still see if Boy Raxa comes in. I reckon he will. Maybe. Bit concerned in the fact that my screen still has not returned. This is incredibly bad. I feel Boy Raxa has come in. Yes, he has. I do apologise for the random timing sheet on the screen. I'm trying to sort out my PlayStation. I do apologise for the slight technical issue. I do wish to get this sorted out as quickly as possible. Seems both Gaza and Boy Raxa have returned to the pits. Still suffering technical issues. I really do apologise. I'm not quite sure why it's lasting this long. It should usually be repaired by now, but it just does not seem to cooperate right now.